All right, guys, welcome back after that short break. Let us quickly look at our next question. Right, so I'm saying here, two types of graphs are shown below, right? Or as you can see on your left-hand side. If you look at the pie chart, shows the percentages of different perfume sales for March to May. Can you see there? Percentage of perfumes sold from March to May. And there we have the different items. Black Opium, Olympia, Black Excess, Fantasy, Angel, and Butterfly. Then also important to note here, it says D. Can you see there's D? Percent D represent unknown percentages of perfumes indicated in the pie chart. Then it says the second paragraph, the incomplete bar graph. Can you see the bar graph is incomplete now because there's a missing value, right? The incomplete bar graph shows only the number of fantasy perfumes sold for March and April, right? So can you see March and April? We are looking still for May, right? A total of 12,000 bottles of perfume was sold during this period, right? So in total, 12,000 bottles of perfume was sold. Now let's look at our first question. Question A, calculate the number of bottles of fantasy perfume, very important, fantasy perfume, during period, if a total of 12,000 bottles of perfume was sold, right, during this period, May to March. Okay, so first of all, if I look at it, and I'm sure you'll agree, if all 12,000 bottles were sold, we would have indicated that was 100%. But now we know we're going to subtract the known values. Remember, we want to find the total number of fantasy, right? Okay, so therefore I'm going to say 100,000, right? Okay, minus 19%, minus our 23%, minus 18%, minus, I can see there's an 8% as well. Okay, so therefore I'm going to indicate then 100% minus 19, minus 23, minus 18, minus 8. So that will give us a total of 32%. Right? That is the calculated, we are saying calculate the number of bottles of fantasy perfume. All right, so it's DD, right? So therefore, we agree that's two unknown values, right? So therefore, that will be 2D equals 32%. And this fantasy is one of the D's, right? So therefore, what will I say now? D equals 32%, right? And then here we normally multiply, and I'm going to say that divide by 2. So 32 divided by 2, that will give us 16%. So basically 16% of these bottles of perfume will be fantasy perfume. But the question itself says calculate the number of bottles, not what percentage of bottles. Are we clear on that? Okay, so therefore, I say 16%, I'll write it as 16 over 100, multiply, what is the total number of perfumes sold? That is 12,000 in total. Remember, this 16% represent our fantasy, like I indicate here, fantasy perfume, and the other 16%, which is also indicated D, represent our butterfly. But we are working with, and I will indicate it here, with our fantasy perfume only. Right, so therefore I'm going to say 16 divided by 100, multiply by the total of 12,000 bottles. So meaning that that will give us an answer of 1,920 bottles of fantasy perfume. Guys, I want you to understand this. Remember, it says calculate the number of bottles. There is the number of bottles. And we know that it's 16% fantasy perfume represents 16% based on the pie chart. I hope that is clear to all of you. So therefore, 1,920 bottles of fantasy perfume was sold during this period. Okay, can we move on? Moving on now to question number B. Nomsa claimed that more fantasy perfumes were sold in May than in March. Verify her claim. Remember, we just indicated that number of fantasy perfume is 1,920 bottles in total. In March, we sold 689. Then in April, sold 550. So that will give us then the total that was sold in May. So let's type in 1,920 minus our 689 minus our 550. So that will give us the sales for May. And we can say in May, 681 bottles was sold, right? So this is 681. Now I'm going back to my question. Nomsa claimed that more fantasy bottles of perfume was sold in May than in March. May 681, March 689. Is a claim valid? No. So therefore, a claim is not valid. Please, guys, remember you have to conclude because your conclusion is based on your answer. All right. I hope that is clear to all of you. Okay. Let's quickly continue. I'll be now looking at our next question. Question number 2. It says, in 2022, Keith participated in the Oakland Marathon and the San Francisco Marathon. The graph indicates the height above sea level of the Oakland and San Francisco marathons. So here we can see is our height above sea level, starting at 0 all the way to 800 feet. Okay. What else is important? Here we have our distances given in miles. Okay. So then we have our graphs given there. Okay. So looking at this graph, we can see this darker line represents the Oakland Marathon, and this one represents the San Francisco Marathon. Also important to note is that here's a little note given to us, right? And we will need this, okay? It says 26,21875 miles equals 26 miles plus 385 yards. And then also important is that 1 foot equals 0.3038 meters. Remember, when we give you something like this, it simply means that you're going to need it to solve whatever question will be presented. Okay, now question A. Show by calculation that 1 mile is equivalent, meaning the same value, to 1,760 yards. Now, if you look at this, we are saying here, remember, we are looking at miles, we are looking at yards. You agree this is the note we'll work with, because this one refers to foot and meters. So immediately you know this is the note we're going to work with, the conversion factors basically. Okay, so therefore I'm saying 26,21875 miles equals to what? 26 miles. As well as, can you see it says plus 385 yards. So therefore, remember, we want to know 1 mile, right, is equivalent to 1,760 yards. So therefore, I can say that 1 mile equals, I'll take my 385 and I divide that by, remember now, I'm already taking out the 26 here in front of the decimal. That's full 26 miles. I want to go to the yards. Okay, so there's the yards. So if I subtract or take away the 26,21875, what is left? 0,21875. Now I want you to type this in as well. 385 divided by 0,21875. If you do this calculation, you'll get to the very same answer of 1,760 yards. Guys, I hope that is clear to you. Remember, we are working with miles and yards, and the question here itself, miles and yards, therefore we've used the first note. Guys, I hope that's clear to you. Number B, determine the approximate distance in miles from the start of the San Francisco Marathon to where the height above sea level rises steeply for the first time. Important, we are working with the San Francisco Marathon, right? It's this one here. And we have to look the approximate distance in miles, there is miles, from the start, which is here, of the San Francisco Marathon, where the height above sea level rises steeply for the first time. So here we go in the marathon, running. What happens now? Here it starts to increase. Can you see there? Right, steeply there, it rises steeply. So therefore we can say that's more or less 4,3, 4,5 miles. I'll take a range, let's say, plus minus approximately 4.5 miles. Guys, I hope that is fine. I hope that is clear. Then, question number C. Calculate the maximum height above sea level in meters for the Oakland Marathon. Oakland Marathon, here's the height above sea level in feet. And then here's a little note. We are saying that 1 foot equals 0.3038 meters. So now if I look at the question, the maximum height above sea level for the Oakland Marathon. So meaning it's going to be this point here. We agree that's the maximum height above sea level. So we agree that will be 700 feet. But now looking at this, our answer must be in meters. Hence, I'm going to need this conversion right here. So therefore, I'll take the 700 feet and I multiply that by 0.038. Okay, so let's quickly do this. 700 multiply by multiply by 0.3038. So that will give us an answer of 212.66. All right, and remember now that is meters. Guys, I hope that's clear to you. Right, our answer must be in meters, so therefore I convert it from feet to meters by multiplying by the conversion factor of 0.3038. Okay, then let's look at our next question. An Oakland Marathon participant stated that the first 10 miles, right, had been the most difficult, but thereafter it was much easier. Give a possible reason for this participant statement. Right? It must be the Oakland Marathon, so it's this one again. And he's saying the first 10 miles. Right? So here's up to the first 10 miles. So what happened here? He said it had been most difficult. So why do you think he said that? Give a possible reason for this participant statement. If you look at this, can you see the first 10 miles, it was almost all the way uphill. Right? What happens now? It becomes easy because from the 10 mile onwards, it becomes downhill all the way as we continue. So therefore, we can say it was difficult for him, most difficult because it was uphill. Guys, let us take a quick break. After the break, we'll wrap up our lesson. See you now.